everyone, I hope you have had a really great week, and if you're one of my regulars then welcome back to my channel, but if you're new here then thank you so much for clicking on my video today. My name is Mrs. Smith, I'm a Christian, and I walk about and talk about all sorts of things from a Christian point of view. Well, today I've been walking in the Sunken Garden in Margate in Kent in the UK. The Sunken Garden is a community green space where volunteers meet monthly to look after it, and there are all sorts of events and community days happening throughout the year here as well, so do take a look online at that because it's really worth a visit, and it's right by and overlooking the sea too. So I've titled my talk today, Are Raffles Sinful? We are heading towards Christmas now, and I'm talking about this subject because of a conversation I had with a couple of lovely friends in my church. So hello to you both, you know who you are. And we were just saying how odd it is that some churches allow people to hold raffles as part of events or fairs in order to raise money for various worthwhile charities, and some churches see holding a raffle as sinful. And I thought to myself, well, there's a walking and talking video waiting to be made, so here I am. Now, when I started thinking about this talk, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to say. But the more I looked into it, the more I read the Christian Bible on it, the more I researched it, the more I prayed about it, the more I started to feel confused about what it was that I actually did believe about raffles. For those of you who don't know what a raffle is, it's kind of like a lottery, I guess, where you pay some money, a small amount of money, to hopefully win something big. You know, the subject of raffles is not straightforward, and I'll admit it took me a while to work out in my own mind how I personally felt about it. So, is it a sin for Christians to hold raffles? And is it a sin for a Christian to buy a raffle ticket at, say, a school fete or a Christmas fair? Okay, well, taking part in a raffle could be seen as being incompatible with living a godly life, or even seen as poor stewardship, because Christians believe that God provides us with everything, right, including money and resources, and we should therefore be wise stewards with that money. In other words, we shouldn't waste money or be irresponsible with it. The Christian Bible also warns us against desiring possessions, and even calls money the root of all evil in the book of 1 Timothy in chapter 6 and verse 10. Some Christians also believe that taking part in a raffle is the same as gambling, and gambling could become an issue for some people, and it could also be seen as taking advantage of the misfortune of others, because in order for someone to win, someone else has to lose, right? And in the book of Hebrews in chapter 13 and verse 5, it reads, "Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have." And buying a raffle ticket could be seen as giving a small amount for hopefully a big gain. And I guess that's not really being content with what we have. Holding a raffle could also be seen as putting a stumbling block in front of someone if they, for example, do have a gambling problem. And I can absolutely see that for some people it would not be good for them to buy raffle tickets, because that could start to lead them down a path of desiring the win or the gain more than trusting in God to provide for them. And for some people that could shift their priorities in life. You know, they might stop relying in God altogether and start relying on luck or chance instead. The book of Romans, actually, in the Christian Bible in chapter 14, I think it is, talks about this. The Bible also commends honest labour as the standard means for gaining wealth instead of taking a chance on a big win. That's in Proverbs chapter 10 if you want to look it up. So I can absolutely see why some Christians and some Christian churches feel like holding a raffle, or even just buying a raffle ticket and supporting raffles, might not be a great idea. However, I feel like my talks always have an however in them. If I buy a raffle ticket, and I will admit I do occasionally buy a raffle ticket, it's always because a group or a charity is holding a raffle to raise money for a worthy cause. And let's be honest, those are never big wins. They're a box of chocolates or at most a bottle of wine. Now, I can, hand on heart, sincerely tell you that I buy that raffle ticket because it's a small way that I can support that worthy cause. I don't even care what the prizes are, right? I just want to do my bit to help that charity. And I know that God knows that my motives are clean. And that is where I believe the important bit lies about raffles, our motives. You know, we're all different, aren't we? And what might tempt one of us away from relying on God won't be an issue for another person. I believe that if something we are doing or something we are about to do is going to put a barrier between us and God or hinder our relationship with Him, then we shouldn't be doing it, right? Now, that might be buying a raffle ticket if it's going to become an issue for someone, or it might be something completely different. But ultimately, anything can become a sin if we value it more than we value God. So are raffles sinful? Well, in my opinion, and it is just my opinion, that decision has to rest on a person's prayerful examination of their own motives and their own conscience and their own heart. I can't give you a single yes or no answer because there isn't one. You know, the Christian Bible doesn't explicitly forbid games of chance, which is what a raffle is. But as I said earlier, biblical principles on this seem to focus on underlying motives, potential for addiction, and being a responsible steward. So what can we do then to decide if taking part in a raffle is going to become a sin for us personally? Well, we can examine our motivation, ask ourselves if the primary reason for us taking part is to gain something or to support that good cause. We can be mindful of whether our participation could potentially lead to an unhealthy focus on money or on wealth and pull us away from relying on God. We can be aware of the potential for addiction, not just with us, but with others. You know, are we about to lead someone down a path that they will find difficult to navigate if we suggest they take part in a raffle? We can consider our own conscience. I think it was Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio who said, "Let your conscience be your guide." Good advice about making the right choices. But more importantly, we can ask God. I always do this. If I'm unsure about whether to do something or not, I always ask God. Personally, though, I'm still going to buy the odd raffle ticket for a worthy cause because for me, my primary motivation for buying that ticket is to support that worthy cause. And I know that God knows that my motivation is in the right place. You know, for most of us, buying a raffle ticket for a worthy cause will not be an issue and will not put a barrier between us and God. For others, though, it might. We all have to make our own prayerful and considered choice. Thank you so much for walking and talking with me again. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to support my channel. And if you have an extra few seconds, please do hit that thumbs up for me and subscribe to my channel too. If you haven't already, that would be the best Christmas present you could give me. I also want to take this opportunity to wish you all a really happy and blessed Christmas because I'm going to be taking a little break over the festive period. So I won't be putting another video out until next year, partly because I'm having bad sciatica at the moment, and so walking any kind of distance is quite painful for me, but also because Rev Smith and I have had a really busy 6 months and I just need a little time out. But please do stick with my channel as I will be back in the new year and I have some really interesting topics to talk about. But until next time, please do take care of yourselves. Merry Christmas to you all, and God bless you all, everyone. Bye.